Today I am continuing my visit to College Station, Texas with a stop at the George H.W. Bush Presidential Library and Museum. The Bush 41 Museum, as it is often called, was dedicated on November 6, 1997 and is located on the campus of Texas A&M University. The library is one of 13 presidential libraries that is administered by the National Archives and Records Administration, and it chronicles the life of George Herbert Walker Bush, the 41st President of the United States. George Herbert Walker Bush was born on June 12, 1924, and is the son of Prescott and Dorothy Walker Bush. The future president served in the United States Navy during World War II and later attended Yale University, graduating with the class of 1948. In the late 1950s and early 1960s, Bush became involved in politics and was elected to the United States House of Representatives in 1966. He later served as ambassador to the United Nations and to China. He also served as the 43rd Vice President of the United States under Ronald Reagan and was elected the 41st President of the United States in 1988. One of the first exhibits you see upon entering the museum is the 1989 Lincoln limousine that was used throughout President Bush's term in office. The presidential limo is on display just off of the entrance lobby. Another vehicle on display is this 1947 Studebaker. It was in a vehicle like this one that George Bush drove to West Texas to begin his career in the oil business and politics. One of my favorite sections of the Bush Museum is the exhibit highlighting the presidency and the time that President Bush spent in the White House. It features a replica of the Oval Office. Here, you can take a seat behind the presidential desk and have your photo taken by one of the very helpful volunteers. Also featured in the White House exhibit is a replica of the presidential podium, which affords visitors another great photo opportunity, along with a table setting for a state dinner. President Bush spent a significant amount of time at the presidential retreat at Camp David, which is located in the Maryland mountains about 60 miles northwest of the White House. The museum features an exact replica of the president's office at Camp David. Included in the Camp David exhibit are a number of artifacts that were actually used in the presidential office. Another unique exhibit in the museum is a replica of the Situation Room, where you can sit and watch videos of different events that occurred during the Bush presidency. President Bush bought this 28-foot cigarette boat that he named Fidelity in 1973. It was used primarily at the presidential home in Maine from 1973 until it was retired in 1998. To celebrate his 80th, 85th, and 90th birthdays, President Bush celebrated the milestones by skydiving. On display here is one of the parachutes used for one of those birthday jumps. Just a few weeks after my visit to the Bush Library and Museum, First Lady Barbara Bush passed away at her home in Houston. After a funeral in Houston, Barbara Pierce Bush was laid to rest here, just across this peaceful lake at the George Bush Library and Museum. This concludes my visit to College Station and the George H.W. Bush Library and Museum. If you like this video, please consider giving me a thumbs up. And if you want to keep up with my travels, please subscribe. For now, It's time for me to head on down the road and see what's around the bend.